Hello, Tom.
Hello.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about foster care. Do you know much about it?
Not a huge amount, I know a bit.
How do you imagine foster care? What do you think it is?
I think it's when somebody is, for some reason, and there can be all sorts of reasons, but where they can't be in their own biological family, for whatever reason, that foster care is a temporary arrangement where they can be looked after and cared for in the context of a family while they wait for some longer term solution, whether it's adoption or some other solution to their situation.
Should care homes be closed, do you think?
In an ideal world, there wouldn't be care homes. In the world that we've got, they should be as good as they can possibly be. But in an ideal world, I think the children would be able to receive foster care and eventually adoption if that's their situation. That would be the ideal. However, we're not in an ideal world, and so the homes need to be made just as good as they can be.
Do you know of any abuses in the care homes?
In the UK, there have been some very famous cases of abuses in the care homes, and that's very, very sad indeed. And these situations, of course, can be open to abuse when children don't have the voice to share what's going on. Of course, there are lots of wonderful people working in the care homes as well. At the end of the day, it probably comes down to the individuals who are working there, and the system itself can go so far to try and ensure that things are right. At the end of the day, it's individuals and the kind of people that they are, and sometimes how much accountability they've got and how closely they're being monitored and encouraged to do a good job and to do it in a responsible way. And whether they love the children or not, there's got to be that connection there. Whether they're in a home, ideally that should be there should be the personal connection there as well. There isn't always, but there should be.
Is society responsible for the abandoned children?
Somebody's got to do something, and I think society somehow, in whatever way, whether that's through public funding or whether that's through charitable organisation, but somehow an arrangement has to happen so that people who, for whatever reason, are not able to be looked after in their own homes, yes, can be picked up somehow in society.
Would you like to consider becoming a foster carer?
We've thought about it. Whether we ever will or not, I don't know, but it's crossed our minds.
Given the homes are full, do you believe that there are situations where it'll be good for the children to be taken out of their biological families?
I think that I would say it's never good and positive in that sense for a child to be taken out of their biological family, because when they have to be, that means there's been a problem, and that's not good. We don't want problems, but there are cases when the problems in a biological family, I think, are serious enough and mean that you would have to remove. So where there's violence or where there's some kind of sexual abuse or a whole host of other things where it's just not sustainable for a child to be at home. And in that case, it is better that they go into a home, and even if homes are full, if somewhere can be found for them in the system, it would be wonderful. And eventually, through foster care and possible adoption, that would be even better. But yes, there are circumstances when it would be better for a child to be out of their biological family, but you would never do it lightly, because that's, in an ideal world, that would be how it was, with loving parents looking after well looked after children.
There have been situations where families too poor to look after their own children have been cared for by paid foster parents. Mm-hmm. What's your view on this?
This is such a difficult question. My instinct would always, I think, be to say that the biological family, if it can be made to work, is the place where a child is best served. I think the links and the bonds in between that family are very hard to build up. I think wonderful links can be built, but if children can be kept in those families, to me the question then is where the money might come from, and whether that's charitably supplied from a charity or government supplied. In the end, the whole system needs to be improved, so this tragic situation doesn't arise. I think it would be a desperately sad situation to be in, and so if the money that is being paid to foster carers can be given to help families, but in a way that is not actually unjust and undermines the work and wage and all the other economic factors, then that could well be done. Some sort of charitable support, maybe in a temporary way, perhaps even with job training, would be a fantastic long-term investment to try and get people to be able to sustain a wage and therefore to build a lifestyle that can support children, and perhaps that would be a better way of spending the money than by tipping the children and paying foster carers.
Do you think there are some people who foster care for the money?
I suspect, and this is in the UK, that there is money for foster carers, and so there should be, because it costs money to raise children. I don't think that there are foster carers who are on the take. I think if you were on the take and wanting to make money, you would probably do it another way. I don't think it's the best way to make your fortune, really. So it's quite right that money, I think, is paid to people who foster care. Quite right, and after all, it's a full-time thing. And in order to do it justice, you're unable to work in other ways, and so there should be financial recognition of that. So yes, that's, I think, what I'd say about that.
Thank you very much indeed. All the best.